Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this video. I know you guys have other options, and I do greatly appreciate you guys coming in to watch this. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at Bitdeer, which provided their production update for November, along with Hive, and then we'll also take a look at Stronghold. They also provided their numbers for November and October. So currently, they are out of the doghouse. They're not in the doghouse right now, but they were very close to that. But they provided the information here. We'll also take a look at the Bitcoin miners for quarterly results for Q3 results, based on a bunch of metrics that we do for production and then also financials as well. And we'll see which ones come in at the top part of it. We'll also do it on weighted metrics that I do for them, okay? So as always, you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research and invest in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. And if you notice, there's one missing here, Hive. I sold out of Hive today. And the reason I sold out of them is, well, I think there are other miners that I could possibly relocate the capital to and make it work a little bit better here. Plus, I need to pay taxes here coming up in the next month or month and a half. So I'm going to keep part of it here to obviously pay taxes, and then the rest of it I'm going to relocate to other miners. And I did buy Bitfarms today at $1, another 500 shares at $1.87 in the morning here. So you guys are aware of that. Okay, so as far as Bitcoin is concerned, the miners, Bitcoin was down today a little bit. I said in yesterday's video that it might be coming down a little bit. We need a little bit of a breather here from where we were. Obviously, we've had a nice run up, but it was just a little too hot. We needed a little bit of pullback, and we got that obviously today and yesterday. So Bitcoin was down today a little bit. It was down about 1%, 1.09 or 1.10% on the day. So not a big drop in it. Miners did a little bit mixed today. So some were up, some were down. We'll talk about the honorable mentions here as far as which ones did pretty good, which ones did pretty bad today. And we'll get onto our real meat of the stories here that we do have. So Bitcoin right now is looking pretty good. RSI, the daily, is still a little bit overbought. On the 4-hour chart, it's looking better. We're below the 70 mark here. And on the 1-hour chart, we're looking even better here. So I think we might have another day or two of a pullback possibly, or we could go up in price on Friday. But we'll have to see on that one. It's anybody's guess right now which way things are going to go. Okay. As far as the miners are concerned, honorable mentions here. Bitfarms was up nicely today, 8.63% on the day. What else do we have here? Any was down 6.63. Argo was down 4.5. So those were kind of big here. Then we had Greenwich was down 9%. Hut was down 6.53%. Irish Energy was up nicely, 7.59%. Mawson was down 5.13%. Riot was up barely, 0.81%. Soluna was down 7.28%, and Stronghold was down 7%. So you can see how the market was kind of mixed today as far as the miners are concerned on this part. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at what we actually do have here in our stories here. So the first one we're going to get into is Bitdeer. Bitdeer announces November 2023 operations update. There's not much in here, so it's going to be pretty quick. And as always, the chapters are going to be down below for you guys to take a look at those. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, or if I did, I'm repeating myself. But here's what we have here. So self-mining actually went down to 7.1 exahash from 7.2, but it looks like it got added to their cloud hash rate. I guess they're seeing that maybe that is a little bit more profitable there, possibly. But it has been up a little bit here. So I have them at 7.2 right now. I'll have to update my numbers here. And I didn't just realize the 1.6 cloud hash rate increase from the 1.5. So that's probably why. And then hosting actually is down to 12.4 from the 12.5 that they had there. And then Bitcoin mined, self-mined was at 403 here, which is down quite a bit here from October with 462. Main reason is, I don't know if one of their facilities was down or if they curtailed a lot, but it's surprising that they're down that much from production side of things, even if they're down only 100 petahash. Because the Bitcoin network transaction fees were adding quite a bit to the miners here. They added a little bit here to them. But we'll take a look at it here. It's going to be a best guess estimate as far as the numbers that I do have for them. Here's a little update from them on the infrastructure. The company has continued to make progress in the construction of 175 megawatt immersion cooling data center at its mining facility in Tidal, Norway. The expansion of the Tidal data center is expected to be completed in 2025. We don't know whether it's going to be first half, second half. We just know it's going to be in 2025 sometime. And that's going to coincide with Bitcoin possibly being at the peak of its bull run at that point, or getting into its bear market again, possibly reaching the high, all-time high, and then obviously slowly dropping down if the cycles that we've had previously repeat as we have in the past. Okay, so that's kind of interesting there, the time frame on it, but they do at least have plans to grow forward. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. Bitdeer right now has 111 million shares outstanding. The stock price is at $5.77 as of today. They're valued at $642 million as of today. And we can see here on the last 12 weeks, the performance has been kind of mixed. They're down 61% from 12 weeks ago. They're up 11% from 8 weeks ago. They're up 25.9% from 4 weeks ago. And last week, they were up 15.74% on the week. So that's looking pretty good. Like I said, they're currently at 7.1. I have them at 7.2. I will get this updated for the Patreon members. And the future hash rate is at 7.6. But if they took 100 petahash out of that and put it into that cloud hash rate, that will bring them down to probably 7.5 right now. We haven't heard anything else from them as far as what their plans are to grow further. We know that they're working on the facility, but that's still a ways out. BTC HODL right now, 0. They don't HODL anything. They sell pretty much everything that they mine. And we've covered, obviously, their BTC production here of 403. Their best month was in September with 482. And with their lack of growth here in hash rate, as you can see down here, ever since August, they were at 7.2 exahash, and it's been pretty much flat here ever since then. We kind of expect that to be coming down, but with the network transaction fees being added in the month of November quite substantially, I would have thought that this would have actually gone up quite nicely here, but it didn't. So it's kind of surprising. Okay, here's the month-over-month BTC mine difference. BTC HODL, they don't HODL anything. BTC per exahash efficiency. They have come down below 60 here, which is kind of where some of the more efficient miners are at right now, around mid-60s, somewhere around there, 60 to mid-60s. That's kind of what we're looking for on the efficiency side of things. So they're below that right now. BTC sold. They sold everything that they mined. We talked about the hash rate already. Value. The only good thing here is that the revenue has been coming up. And the main reason for that is Bitcoin price going up in value. So that's helping them out there, even though they're mining less. Okay. Hash rate difference, month over month. BTC sold value. They sold pretty much everything that they mine. Going down over here to institution side of things, we can see that institutions did increase quite nicely to 41 from 26. Shares increased slightly by about 200,000 shares or something like that to 9.1 million from 8.9. Percentage owned also increased to 14.55. And then prior to that was 14.18. So that's good there. We still don't have any strong buy ratings. We do still have the 2 buy ratings. We have still the same 0 for hold, 0 underperform, 0 for sell ratings. And the price targets stay the same at $20 for the high, $18.50 for the average, and $17 for the low. We'll get into my numbers here in a minute. Here's what we had them mining in November. So we have, this is for hosting down here. This is what they had running, basically kind of calculated roughly what they would have. And I have them at 28 days roughly. And then I added 155,000 to basically the transaction fees being added into it. My guess is that they were probably down to 26 days, maybe 25 days, if not lower than that. And then the transaction fees added a lot more to it because we were seeing that with the other miners. We're seeing some miners getting additional 2 million plus in revenue from the transaction fees being added to it. So I would think that would be similar to them, maybe around 1.5, 1.7, somewhere around their million added to it. So there's definitely something going on here with them being down so much, especially in November. I don't know if it's just the areas that they're mining at that had warm weather or something like that, or something happened. They did not provide the information, so that's kind of what we're going by here on this number for them. Okay, based on what we do have here, looking at the previous 3 quarters, the current quarter that we're in, I am at $22.47 to $33.70. They're at $5.77 right now. In my opinion, they are undervalued from where they should be, really. They have a lot of, obviously, hosting, other things like that. Their self-mining has been growing nicely. I think they should be valued more than what they are currently. Okay, if we look forward to the next 12 months, the 4 months before the halving event, which is going to be in April sometime, at 100% of revenue for each month, and we're using the numbers for November as far as what their revenue was for that month, multiplying it times the 4 months before the halving event, and then the 8 months after the halving event at 50%, we're looking at $14.82 to $22.23. So kind of in line with what the analysts are kind of looking at right now as well. This can obviously change if Bitcoin price goes up in value, and that'll be the same for all the miners here that we talk about. Okay, so that's basically it. There's really nothing there of concern here. They still have a good balance sheet here, 365 million at the end of Q3. Debt was only 56 million current debt, so that's fine there. No real issues to look at. Only thing is growth, right? We need to see miners grow into the halving event. After the halving event, they just need to continue to grow. Unfortunately, that's the nasty part of the business they're in, is you got to grow with the network hash rate. If you're not growing, you're basically going in reverse. You're dying slowly. Okay. So that's it for that one. Let me know what you guys think of that in the comments, and we'll chat there. And then let's get into our next one here. So Hive has had Stonegate Capital Partners update coverage on them. You guys can take a look at it. Main takeaways from it here are Hive is prepared for the BTC halving, more tasks given to repurpose GPUs, and they position themselves to benefit from price correction, which is basically talking about Bitcoin price going up in value. So that's fine. And then you guys can click here and get a nice PDF of what they're actually talking about there. And their price targets are pretty similar to what I have for them right now. So I'm not going to get into it or spend too much time on it. You guys can definitely take a look at it here. Okay, now here's Hive's production update for November, and it also has completed the acquisition of data center facility located in Sweden. So we'll take a look at that here really quick, and we'll have some information for you guys. So further to its announcement on November 27th, it has completed its acquisition from Taurus AB of a data center and real property on which it's situated, located in the city of Boden, Sweden. And they also, Hive has a facility there as well, I believe, or multiple facilities there. So that's kind of in a geographic area, which is nice to see. And that's obviously going to help them out, being able to possibly use the current talent that they have in that city to help out with this other facility as well. Okay. Now, as far as their Bitcoin production is for November concerned, they produced 276.3 Bitcoin. They ended the month with 4.18, which is a mixture of, majority of it is ASIC mining for Bitcoin, and then they also have some of the GPUs still mining Bitcoin for them at that point. And the nice thing is here, they provided the HODL position here for the end of the month here of 1,627. They've been kind of on and off with this, which is kind of strange. But it is good to see that they are doing it. I think it's definitely worthwhile for investors, because if they don't provide it, then we're thinking that they're selling everything that they mined, and it just becomes, what's the word I'm looking at? Unacceptable, I guess you could say. If you're provided here each month for the past year and a half or 2 years, whatever it's been, continue providing it. Even if it's down a little bit from where you were, you can say why it's down, and they did provide here. Our HODL position is down from last quarter because Hive has been investing in new ASIC chips for our future growth and efficiency. And that's completely fine. If you're doing that, that's great. If you're obviously selling Bitcoin and spending it in Vegas or something like that, that wouldn't be fine. Or if you're spending it on bonuses or something like that, that wouldn't be fine. But if you're spending it for growth, this is definitely acceptable and fine with me. So I think this is great, and I wish for them to continue to provide that number for us going forward. Okay, so let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. I don't think there's anything else in here. You guys can read the rest of it. Yeah, there's nothing else here really. You guys can take a look at it. We've already covered most of the stuff here when they reported it in a couple of weeks back, so we won't get too deep into it. So Hive, right now, Hive has 86 million shares outstanding. Their current stock price is $3.92. Their market cap is at 338 million as it is. They've had an okay run here in the last 12 weeks. They're up 9.8% from 12 weeks ago, up 21% from 8 weeks ago. They're up 4% or 10% from 4 weeks ago, and then last week they were up 18%. So they had a pretty good week last week. Their current hash rate 4.1 is what they're reporting here. That's kind of where I'm at. Future hash rate 5.5. I did take out some of the older miners, the 90 terahash miners, in substitution for some of the newer miners, because I think that's kind of what they're doing. They're kind of rejuvenating their system or their fleet here with newer miners as they come in and getting rid of some of the older miners, because why wouldn't you do that? That's probably something that you want to do anyways, because newer ones are more efficient. So that's probably the thing to do. Okay, BTC production here has been kind of all over the place this past 12 months, 13 months, because we're going back to November. But their best month was in May. For a lot of miners, their best month were in May, unless they were actually growing after May. But theirs was 304 Bitcoin here, and it's been going up and down, but they're at 276. So they are slightly, I wouldn't say they're keeping up with the network hash rate, but they are slowly keeping up with it. They're a little bit behind it, but they're still growing, which is good to see here. Their Bitcoin HODL now, 1,627, is worth 67 million, so that's good there. And then you can see their month-over-month BTC production here, how that changes from month to month. BTC HODL has been coming down. They had 3,311 Bitcoins in November. They're down to 1,627, so about half of what they had back then. But they have been purchasing miners to grow, which is fine. Okay, BTC per exahash efficiency continuing to be one of the best here that we cover, along with other miners. They're in the 60s and in the middle 60s, so higher end of the 60s here that we can see. So that's great there. They continue to be one of the best there, so I can't take that away from them ever. I mean, they've always been very, very, very efficient when it comes to mining. Monthly BTC sold here right now, I guess we have them at selling maybe 387 in November. I think they sold maybe everything that they mined in October. We don't know because they didn't provide numbers for October, so that's kind of what we're guessing here as far as what happened. Okay, total petahash or exahash, if you're looking at it that way, is now at 4.1, almost 4.2. And that has been growing here steadily, which is nice to see as well going forward. Mining revenue here for the month, 10.1 million here. So that's pretty much the best month that they've had here in the last 12, 13 months, which is nice to see. Prior high was back in May. Obviously, that helps with Bitcoin price going up, but that's still really good here. Hash growth month over month, you can see how much that grew there. BTC sold value, how much they sold each month. And then looking down here, institutions did increase to 108 from 101, which is good. Shares also increased to 15.3 million from 14 million, so that's good. Their percentage owned went up to 17.43 from 16.12, so that's good there. The only changes that we have here now, we had a strong buy rating before. We don't have that anymore. We still have 2 buy ratings, and now we have a hold rating for M1, where we didn't have that before, and we still have 0 underperformers, 0 sells, and the price target actually came down to $6 from $7, and then the average went down to $4.75 from $6.26, and the low went down to $3.50 from $4.78. Okay, looking at the miners that they did have, I took out on these miners here, the 90 terahash miners here, and then we added in some of the newer miners down below. I still had to add for them approximately, I had all the miners running at 30 days pretty much, and then the new ones that got added in about 20 days because I just don't know when those got added in. On average, if you put in the miners, they kind of end up working for about 20 days on average for the month. And then I added about $1 million here in extra transaction fees for them to get them to the 10.1 million here in revenue. So a really good month for them. Can't really complain on that part of it. Okay, they still have a bunch of these 98 and 96 and 98 terahash miners. Those might be coming offline, obviously, as more miners come in that they've obviously purchased here going forward. So that'll be good there. My analysts or my price targets are somewhere between $5.27 to $7.91. This is looking backwards, obviously the last 3 quarters, the current quarter that we're in. And then if we look forward the 12 months, the 4 months before, they're having it 100%, and the 8 months after at 50% of revenue based on November numbers. We're looking at $4.69 to $7.03, kind of in line with where the analysts are kind of, I'm a little bit higher than they are. But that's kind of what we're looking at, right? So let me know what you guys think of them. Obviously, they've been doing really good. If they only were growing faster, I think I would have held on to the shares maybe for a little bit longer here into the bull run. But I think there might be some other opportunities that might be a better performance going into the bull run, unfortunately, than Hive is. I've held on to Hive since 2017, 2018. So I was up still over 100%. I'll take it. Obviously, I learned my lesson when I didn't sell in the last bull run. So lessons learned, you learn from those your mistakes, you correct them, you go forward, and you move on. Okay. So that's it for that one. Let's take a look at our next one here, which is going to be on Stronghold. This one's going to be pretty quick as well. So Stronghold announces November 2023 Bitcoin mining update. And here's what we have from them. They mined 193 Bitcoin in November. October, they mined 198. That's it. No real hash rate as far as what they have. No how to update anything like that. They did provide us with a little tidbit that they are going to have, obviously, the carbon capture thing that they're working on here. You guys can sign up for that. I think they're having a presentation. It's limited seating. I don't know if they're going to have a presentation online. I think it would be good for them to do it. But that's just my take on it. Everything's pretty much online now. It would be nice for them to do it online as well. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll post a video of it online later on or something like that. Okay. But you guys can read that. But it's pretty quick here. So like I said, in prior videos, Stronghold was getting close to being in my doghouse permanently if they didn't provide updates for October and November, and they did. But they're kind of pretty bleak. I wouldn't say bleak, but they're kind of sparse as far as the updates are concerned. I'm guessing that they still have the same amount of hash rate that they had before. Nothing got added, nothing got removed. And then we're just going with that assumption here for it, okay? So let's take a look at the numbers that I do have here for them. And Stronghold is over here. So Stronghold is right now, and it's questionable. Some are saying that Stronghold has more shares outstanding, about 10 million or something like that, or 11 million. Some are saying it's right around the 7 to 8 million mark. They have different class shares. I'm using this. If you guys have different shares for that, send me links or something like that where I can actually look at that stuff, and I'll correct it as needed. So right now I'm about 8 million shares outstanding. Stock price is $4.88. Market cap is at 38 million right now, 39 million. So definitely undervalued in my opinion, plus possibly value like it's going out of business. The performance over the last 12 weeks has been pretty good. They're up 12% from 12 weeks ago, 25% up from 8 weeks ago, 32% up from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were up 20%. So they're kind of bouncing back up a little bit here, which is nice to see. Okay, their current hash rate is at 4 exahash. Their future hash rate is supposed to be at 4.1, something like that, as far as what's been reported for being purchased. I still have a BTC HODL for them of 50, and this was reported, I believe, in their Q3 results. So that's valued about 20. I don't know if they still have it or not, but it's in there right now. Their production of BTC has peaked in June of this year at 225, and it's been kind of up and down here, but mostly trending downwards here as the year progresses. They're at 193 right now. And then you can see that month over month, BTC HODL, they don't report any HODL or anything like that. BTC per exahash efficiency, also pretty inefficient at 48, right? We'd like to see them at least around 60 or above. BTC sold, they sell everything that they mine. And then the hash rate here at 4 exahash has been stuck here since August right now. BTC mined revenue has been up and down as well. Their best month prior to November was probably in June with 6.25 million. Their current month of 7 million here. So nice increase there. Hash rate difference month over month. You can see that there. BTC sold what they sold. And look at the institutions here. Institutions actually decreased on them to 46, but the shares actually increased by about 3,000 shares. So not a huge increase there. Their shares are only percentage owned by institutions is 4.68, so that's up a little bit from the 4.64. We still have one strong buy rating for them, one buy rating, one hold rating, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. And the price targets looks like stay the same here for 23.50 for the high, 17.17 for the average, and $8 for the low on them. As far as the production here for November, we have them operating at 24.619 days. Now, given that obviously that we have quite a bit of BTC added into the transaction fees, they were probably operating for even less than that. So they were actually operating less than they were operating in October, potentially, which is surprising because we're getting into the colder months here. You would think that those plants would run even longer than that. But so I'm a little surprised by that. All right. And then here's what I have them at. I have them, if all things were equal and they were being priced properly, but we know that they have some issues here. I have them between $20.78 to $31.18. They're at $4.88 right now, and that's with a PE of 5 for the last 3 quarters in the current quarter that we are in. Going forward, though, next 4 months before the having event at 100%, then the 8 months after the having event at 50%. Revenue based on November numbers, we have them at 1772 to 2658. Now, they do have some issues here, obviously, liabilities. Current liabilities are at 28 million. Their total current assets are at 12.33 million. We also have, if we look down here from the quarterly results here, I'll point this out to you guys here. Revenue was 12.6 million. Their general administrative compensation was 6.5 million. That's 52% of their revenue. That is a concern. That's an issue there. Okay. That's one issue that we have here. The other issue, if we look at their total current liabilities, is at 93 million, right? Their current assets they have here is at 172. So if they sell everything, they could possibly pay off the total current liabilities. But yeah, total current liabilities is only 12 million, or total current assets is at 12 million. That has been coming down. And then liabilities has been kind of flat here. It's been kind of, yeah, flat around 90 some odd million here. So that's also not good. They're going down here to revenues. So revenue for everything, energy, cryptocurrency hosting, and their self-mining came in at 17 million here, right? And then we're looking at operating expenses. So you got 17 million in there. If you take fuel, operating maintenance, general administrative, you're already at 22 million right there, right? That's a concern. So the reason they're priced the way they are is because of all these things being added into it to account for the stock price or the performance of it right now. So there's a lot of concern there. That's the reason why it's down the way it is. Okay. Other than that, they got to get their costs under control. And they're spending way too much on general administrative costs, I believe. And that was too much. I'd like to see that around 20 at most, 20% at most, or below from there. Yeah. So cut the costs, get production growing up as much as you can, and uptime as much as you can to sustain the wild expenses for general administrative, unfortunately. Okay. But let me know what you guys think of them down in the comments below. But this is kind of my view on it as it is right now. All right, so that's it for all the miners that we've talked about here. Let's take a look at the miners here, how they did in Q3. And I believe we have everybody here except for maybe one. I can't remember which one that is. I think that might be DigiHost, I think is the one. No, not DigiHost. I think we have everyone here. Which one are we missing? We're missing Iris Energy. Iris Energy provides their numbers every 6 months. So that's the one that's missing out of here. So they're not included in here. Because we just don't have the numbers. So if they want to get included in this, provide the numbers every quarter, which would be great. Would be highly appreciated. Okay, so here's what we look at. We look at quarter over quarter hash rate growth, and we look at a bunch of metrics here. So we'll go through them one by one, and I'm just going to go through the top 5 here as far as performance for each one, and then we'll go to the total metrics score, and then we'll go over the weighted metrics as well. Okay, so the first one is quarter over quarter hash rate growth. Top one here was Bitdeer. Bitdeer was up almost 3.4 exahash. CleanSpark came in second with 2.9. Marathon came in third with 1.4. And then we got Bitfarms with almost 800 petahash, and Hive came in pretty good here at 500 petahash as well. So those are the top 5, and then you can see how far everybody else here performed. So they get scored based on this. So the one that did the best gets a 1. The one that did the worst, we go down the line here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to 16. If they scored the same here, they get basically the same score. So if somebody scored 0, 0, 0, we give them the same score of 13, right? Because that'd be fair. Okay, so that's how that stacked up there. Quarter year-to-date hash rate growth. So how much did they grow from the year-to-date, from the beginning of the year to the end of the quarter, basically? Marathon obviously grew the most. They grew 12.1 exahash here. Cypher came in second with 4.3 exahash. Bitdeer with 3.6. TeraWolf with 3.5. And then CleanSpark with 3.4. So those are kind of top 5 there. Going down here, year-over-year hash rate growth, year-over-year hash rate added. So what was their hash rate last year to this year? Marathon, again, 12.2 exahash increase. Bitdeer, 7.2. Followed by Cypher with 6.2. Then we got CleanSpark with 4.9 and Riot at 4.8. Those are the top 5 there. Then we look at quarter Bitcoins per exahash efficiency. So how efficient are they for the quarter? Hive came in at number 1. Like I said, Hive has continued to be one of the best as far as efficiency is concerned here. So they came in at 226 Bitcoin per quarter per exahash. So that's the averages of what they mined and the exahash that they had as well. DigiHost came in number 2 with 215. Bitdigital came in number 3 at 208. Bitfarms number 4 with 206, and CleanSpark with number 5 spot at 201. Okay, you can look at the other numbers that you have here. Next is quarter BTC mined. So now we're just looking at straight Bitcoin that was mined in the quarter. Marathon came in at number 1 with 3,470. Core came in at number 2 with 2,952. And there's some debate whether or not Core should be included in here because they're in bankruptcy. I have them in here because they will get a bankruptcy eventually, so I'll just kind of point it out. And then CleanSpark came in number 3 with 1,877, followed by Cypher with 1,991. And then number 5 spot was to Bitfarms, 1,172. Okay. And then when we look at the quarter BTC per million shares, so what we're looking at here is basically based on the shares outstanding that they had, how many BTC are we getting per million shares that they mined here for the quarter? So Marathon came in at number 1 with 15. Mawson came in number 2 with 14. Sphere came in number 3 with 12. CleanSpark with 10. Bitdeer with 9.7. So that's kind of top 5 there as far as what you're getting for number of shares out. So obviously if somebody has less shares out, it's going to be a little bit better for them. But I think it also is indicative of potential price movements in the shares as well. Okay. And then we look at finally the growth left per petahash here. Riot has a bunch here. Obviously they got about 26 exahash left to grow. CleanSpark about 10, so they're in number 2 spot. Bitfarms with about 5.6 something exahash, so they're number 3. Marathon 1.42. And then number 4 spot, Hut 8 with, wait a minute, why should that should be changed. Hut 8 actually is at 7.5 now with the merger with USBTC. I mean, I can change that here. I don't think it's going to change things here that much. But they should be. Oh, let's update it here because I want to make this right. So let's sort this descending. And then here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I missed this one. Looks like 10, 11, 12, 13. Then we got a couple with nothing. So those guys are going to be at 14 here. Okay. So that's kind of the way things work out here. And that's all the metrics here that we have for basically the performance side of things as far as Bitcoin mining and things like that. Now let's take a look at the quarterly financials here. So one of the things I like to look at is compensation versus revenue, right? What is that percentage really at? Lower is obviously better here. So DMG came in number 1 with only 18.95%. Bitdeer number 2 with 19.3%. Marathon in number 3 spot with 20%. Core also in number 4 spot with 20.82%. And then DigiHost at 23.62%. So those guys obviously have done pretty good here. The other ones need to work on their stuff going forward. What did I want to mention? Marathon used to be pretty high here, but they've actually done a pretty good job with their growth and hash rate. That has definitely helped them out get the numbers down much lower, which is good to see. Okay, price to book ratio. Obviously, lower is better here. This one probably should be at the end here because it's negative actually. And we probably should do that. Well, this is always tricky when I have negative numbers here. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Oops. See, a lot of this stuff I catch until I do the video and I actually discuss it. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I do apologize for the mistakes, but at least we're getting them corrected here before things get out into the wild. 14, 15, and then since this one's negative, this should be probably 16. Okay, so that's the way things stack up here. So number 1 is now Sphere 3D, followed by Mawson, DMG, DigiHost, and Hut 8. Okay, current ratios, we can see here, obviously, higher is better on that, but obviously, if you have it too high, you're not really utilizing your cash properly, possibly, right? So, but we're going with the higher is better. So Bitdigital came in number 1, followed by Marathon, Riot, Bitdeer, and DMG. You can take a look at the numbers here for them, and then quarter over quarter, that's a tongue twister there. Quarter over quarter current ratio. So did they improve on their ratios from one quarter to the other? Best one here is Bitdigital. They improved, followed by Bitfarms, then Riot is number 3 spot, Cypher number 4 spot, Sphere 3D number 5 spot on that. Okay. Next is going to be debt to equity ratio. So lower is better on this one. And the best one here, we have pretty much a tie here, I guess you could say, for these first two. So we'll give them both a 1. I didn't even realize that they were tied here, but they're tied. So we'll give them a 1. We'll give this one a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So that's the way that came out. So both of those guys get pretty good scores there. So we got Bitdigital and Riot tied for first place, DMG for second, CleanSpark at third, Bitfarms at number 4, Cypher number 5 spot as it is right now. Okay. And then we look at the quarter over quarter debt to equity ratio. Has that improved? And the best one that has improved here is Argo. That has improved by 11 almost 12 points, so that's good there. So they got number 1 spot, Mawson at number 2, Hut 8 at number 3, Hive number 4, CleanSpark at number 5 spot here. And then here we take a look at all the total set of metrics for growth as far as hash rate is concerned, operations, things like that. And we can see here, based on the numbers, I want to make sure I get these correct now since we changed some things around. Sort descending, actually we want to sort ascending. There we go. So Marathon came in number 1 spot, right, for this metric, for the sub-metrics of growth, with total points of 23, followed by CleanSpark with 25. Then we got a tie here of Bitdeer and Cypher for the 3rd spot. We got a tie for the 4th spot, also between Bitfarms and Hive at 44, and then TerraWolf, followed by everybody else here down towards the end here, okay? Next, if we look at the financial scores here, we'll have to get those updated as well. Those have changed around a little bit here. We want to sort that ascending. Here we go. Bitfarms came in at number 1 with 35. Bitdigital with 36. Riot with 37. So that's the number 3 spot. CleanSpark at number 4 spot. Bitdeer with number 5 spot at 48. Then when we combine all the metrics and we get this final score here, let's do the metrics here, ascending as well. There we go. Okay. So with all the metrics for the financials and for growth, CleanSpark came in at number 1 at 70. Followed by Bitfarms at 79, Marathon at 81, Bitdeer at 87, so that number 4 spot, and then Cypher at 90. Then you got the Core at the very end here, at the very last spot on the list here, okay? And you can see everybody else here. So then we look at the weighted metrics here, which is some things I think are more important than others, and we look at it both from the side of the growth things and from the financial side of things. So on the weighting side of things, the quarter over quarter hash rate growth, it's put a 0.5 rating on it, so half of what the actual score was. So that's not very important to me. Year-to-date hash rate's not very important to me. Same as the year-over-year hash rate growth. The important parts to me are BTC per exahash, right? How efficient are they? How much growth do they have left there? So I multiplied those by 2, the scores, to weigh those more on the numbers here. BTC mined also not very important to me. BTC per million shares is important to me because if they're mining pretty good share amount per million shares, that could mean obviously the stock price going up potentially higher here. And we'll get this updated here as well. Total metrics here, ascending. We get the following here. So based on that, CleanSpark came in number 1 on this, followed by Marathon, then Hive, Bitfarms, and Cypher here are the top 5 basically on the growth metric side of things. And we'll also update this here, ascending. and we get the following here. So we're looking at current ratio is important to me, so I give that weighted of 2. Debt to equity ratio is also important to me. Price to book ratio is important. Compensation over revenue is also important to me. And then the quarter over quarter and the other quarter current and debt to equity ratios, they're about even at 1 right now. So those are a little bit less important to me. So for those metrics here on the weighted side of things, we have Bitfarms coming in number 1, followed by Bit Digital, Riot, Bitdeer, and CleanSpark. So those are the top 5. Now when we combine all the metrics here on the total weighted score, and I'll have to probably update this here to make sure we're getting the right numbers here. Let's see here. Sort ascending. Okay, so we have all that in order, and then we also have a place as far as where they were on the prior quarter's metrics here. So we come up with this now. The weighted metrics for all of this stuff is as follows. Bitfarms came in at number 1 with 98.5 for the weighted metrics, which I think is more important than the regular metrics. CleanSpark came in at the number 2 spot with 102 score. They were in the number 1 spot last quarter. Bitfarms was in number 3 spot. Marathon came in number 3rd spot this time around. Last time they were in number 5 spot. Riot came in number 4 spot now. They were in the number 2 spot last quarter. And then Bitdeer actually came in number 5 spot where they were before in the 8 mark. So they have definitely improved here. So those are kind of like the top 5, I would say, as far as miners to be looking into. Riot is a tough one, like I said, because Riot also, they do get a lot of credits. So it's hard to balance them. They could possibly be up even a little bit higher in position here, but it's just tough. I mean, they're pretty close to Marathon right now as it is in the scores here. Okay, and then here's how the non-weighted metrics have looked at. CleanSpark came in number 1. They did the same thing last quarter as well. Bitfarms came in number 2 spot this time around. Last time they were number 3 spot. Marathon came in number 3rd spot this time. Last time they were number 5 spot. Bitdeer was in number 4 spot today. Last time they were number 8, and then Cypher was in the 5th spot today. Last time it was in number 7. Right, Riot was in number 2 spot last time around. So definitely a different change up here as far as metrics go and how things are obviously weighted and things like that. But we're still seeing some of the ones that were before in pretty much the same spots. It looks like Bitfarms and CleanSpark kind of changed things around a little bit along with Riot. But that's kind of how things stack up. So I think those are probably like your top best miners. Marathon definitely being in there, Riot being in there as well. Bitdeer, like I said, is a little weird there. That's down so much from where it was. So hit me up in the comments down below, and we'll also probably talk. We'll maybe do a live preview or live premiere of this video as well tonight. So it's going to be a long one, and I greatly appreciate you guys sticking around to the end of it. If you made it this far and watching it through, it means a lot, helps out the channel a lot as well. So we'll kind of leave it at that, and then we'll see where things end up later on Friday as well. So let's have a great discussion on this in the comments down below. Also, the Patreon members will get a copy of this later on tonight. They actually got this yesterday. If they looked at it, at the files, they would have seen this yesterday already. So we just updated it now, so we have the most recent as it is. So that's going to get updated. Patreon membership is still only $5 a month. You get access to all these wonderful spreadsheets, metrics, and we also have a great Discord channel that's private for all of our members to communicate there. And I mean, I'm having a hard time keeping up with everybody. I would have to pretty much spend 24/7 just reading the comments there. So I'm trying to keep up as best as I can. I'm only one man there. So if you don't hear from me for a while, that's the reason why. I still have a job, family, and I do this. So I do appreciate it, but we'll call it a day. I'm going to ramble on otherwise. So again, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, have a great night.